everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So today is BookList Thursday, and BookList Thursday is something I do with Sarah over at Sarah's Nightstand. We come to you every Thursday with some sort of book, thoughts, ideas, recommendations, something bookish related. So today I'm in a slightly different location. We are currently renovating our kitchen, like everything's coming out, and so everything got moved into the room that has all of my bookshelves, and so it is a hot mess in there. This room is not, so we're gonna work from here. The other thing is I literally can't really reach most of my bookshelves, so I'm gonna be putting up icons instead of attempting to crawl over everything. So we're just gonna make it work, right? Just you inspect and adapt. Okay, that was a lot of work language. All right, let's get to the topic of today. So last month, one of our BookList Thursdays, we talked about our favorite books from the BookList Thursdays when we do our 5-star predictions. And this time we're going to talk about our least favorite 5-star prediction books. Now, it doesn't mean that they're bad books. Well, okay, maybe one or two of these are bad books. But I still enjoyed them. They weren't my favorites out of all of them. And I've been pretty decent about being able to pick my 5 stars and having them be 5 stars. There wasn't a lot when I was going through. There's really only 2 that I was like, ugh, were like not a good book at all. But yeah, let's get started. So the first one is actually one of the first 5-star prediction books that I picked when I first joined Sarah, and then it was at the time Lisa that we're doing BookList Thursdays. I joined for a 5-star prediction, and first book I picked up, I ended up DNFing. Was not good. It was Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders. So the premise of this book sounds so cool. So what happens is it follows Lincoln's son after he passes away, and he's been buried, and Lincoln and his wife are mourning him, and he's a ghost. And so he is living in the graveyard with all of these other ghosts, trying to figure out now what. Loved me a ghost story. Thought the idea was really, really great, but I couldn't hop on board to the writing. Just wasn't for me. I've heard great things about the book. It just wasn't for me. So if it sounds interesting to you, I would still say maybe borrow from the library and check it out. But I ended up DNFing that one. The other book that I really didn't like either was Shiner by, I think it's Amy Jo Burns. It's going to be right there. Total cover buy, and something that a friend of mine who's in my book club highly, highly, highly recommended. And since that time, we have decided that we just like different books because she loved it and I did not. Can I tell you what it was about? I can't. I think I was bored. I think it was just a contemporary story. Probably more of a character-driven type of a story, but I didn't care for it. Next one I want to talk about is What's Mine and Yours, which is one I read somewhat recently. I want to say I gave it 2 or 3 stars. The way that the synopsis is written made me really want to pick it up. So it takes place at a time, I want to say it was like the 80s, and it takes place in the South, where the city was still pretty segregated, where the black families tended to live on the one side and white families tended to live on the other side. And there was forced mix up of the classes within the high school. And one set of friends evolves from this kind of mix up. So we have a black boy who meets a white girl, and they kind of create this really cool relationship centering around the play that's going on at the high school. That's the synopsis and what kind of I was looking forward to. It's not really what I was given. It is a piece of the book, but the majority of the book really follows the parents of these 2 children and what happened to them and how they were raised and their circumstances, which again, very important. But when I'm going into the book thinking we're focusing on these 2 kids who find this unlikely friendship, and then I get a very small piece of that, I was pretty disappointed. So not that great. Not that great. Next book I want to talk about, and Audrey, I'm so sorry. is A Study in Charlotte. This is a Sherlock Holmes retelling. It's a YA book. It's a series. There's actually a trilogy, I should say, of a girl who is related to Sherlock Holmes. She is somewhat kind of flying under the radar, and then there is an event that happens at the school she's in, and she finds that her and her friend, who's related to Watson, or a descendant of Watson, are kind of the only ones to really help solve the case. I just kind of found it a little boring. So, still good. I think I gave it 3 stars. It's fine. I'm not going to continue on in the trilogy, but didn't really enjoy it. And the next one, Vicky's probably not going to like this one from her recommendations, why I picked it up. It is Confessions. I expected to be blown away, and I think my expectations were just too high. Still a very good book, and I would highly suggest pick this one up. It just made the list. So this one is a story about a teacher who brings all of her students together. I think it's like last day of school or something like that. Puts them in a circle, and this teacher is grieving for the death of her child. And she basically says, one of you here murdered my child, and we're going to figure out who it was. And we go through this process. Again, good story. My expectations were really high, and it just didn't quite meet them. So again, I would say if anyone's looking to read the book, definitely pick it up. Just wasn't my jam. I didn't DNF it. I finished it. It was still good. Just on my lower end of my 5-star predictions. So it is a really good sign that I went through quite a few videos trying to find my lowest favorites of my 5-star predictions. So I'm thinking I've really got a good sense of what I'm looking for in a book that really makes it a 5-star book for me, which I think is really important, because not every book is for every person, nor would I want every book to be for every person. But you never know what might ring true to you. Like my friend who her and I, our reading tastes are opposite. So she knows if I say I didn't like a book, she just might like that book. Or if I say I really loved a book, she probably won't really love that book. And that's really cool, and it's fine, and we can still recommend books to each other. So it's a really fun thing. Head over to Sarah's channel and see what she has for today's 5-star predictions, lowest of her 5-star predictions. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, leave a comment below. Tell me how you rate your books. Let's chat in the comments. I always love that. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye.